Travis Merrill, 51, was arrested in the fatal shooting of Tamara Collazo, his co-worker at Allegiance Trucking in Louisville. Collazo supposedly took unauthorized long breaks and not paying attention to him, police say. Merrill kept asking her out, and she would say no. This was clearly not about lunch breaks. He was stalking and harassing her at work, became obsessed, and retaliated against her after she reported him to HR. He was suspended as a result of her complaint. He told detectives that she intentionally avoided him once she returned to work, which fueled his anger even more. Merrill said he brought the weapon to work on several occasions, but didn't do anything because it didn't feel like the right time. He was ordered to talk to a counselor before he was approved to return to work. KDFW reported. After becoming increasingly angry, on October 17th, as Collazo re-entered after her lunch break, he followed her inside to her cubicle at her desk on a Thursday and opened fire at her several times, police said. More than 20 coworkers witnessed this account. He told investigators that Collazo had caused him pain, and he wanted her to feel pain, WKRC reported. 37-year-old Collazo sustained 5 gunshot wounds. She was rushed to the hospital, but would later pass away from her injuries. He's now being held in jail on a $10 million bond. Here's some reports.
We are learning new details about a deadly shooting at a workplace in Louisville. New police documents revealed the suspect and victim were co-workers at Allegiance Trucking, and that the suspect, Travis Merrill, was obsessed with the victim, Tamara Collazo. Investigators say Merrill told them he was getting increasingly angry with Collazo because he says she was taking long lunch breaks and also not paying attention to him. They say he admitted to bringing guns to work on multiple occasions, waiting for the right time to shoot Collazo. When officers reported to the scene last Thursday, they found Merrill with his hands already up in the air. Collazo shot and killed. Merrill remains behind bars at the Denton County Jail, charged with murder.
That man's shirts. I have a killer's shirt. I see him all the time.
Darcy White says he never had a good feeling about his Louisville neighbor, 51-year-old Travis Merrill.
I kind of felt something strange about him.
White says on Sunday, a relative of Merrill's was moving and giving away belongings from Merrill's apartment.
He gave me these shirts. He said son had to go out of town.
It was not until Fox 4 told White on Monday, however, the reason Merrill is no longer his neighbor is because Merrill is charged with murder. According to an arrest warrant, Merrill walked into Allegiance Trucking in Louisville on October 17th, where he worked, and shot and killed Tamara Collazo, a female coworker. The affidavit says Merrill admitted to police he was obsessed with Collazo and began getting ever increasingly angry by her taking what he considered to be unauthorized long breaks during work hours, as well as not paying any attention to him. The woman reported his behavior to administration. Merrill had to speak with a counselor until he was approved to come back to work. He told police that once he returned, everyone must think he's a psychopath, and that Collazo was intentionally avoiding him. Police say that fueled his anger and led to him buying guns and making a detailed plan to kill Collazo. Police say he brought 2 revolvers and shot Collazo 5 times while she was at her cubicle. 24 co-workers witnessed the shooting. Merrill gave himself up once police arrived.
It's pretty sad.
Adriana Solis and her 13-year-old son lived next door to Merrill. Solis says he would ask her personal questions, leading her to be cautious of him.
I was thinking maybe that guy have some problem mentally. We never know what is inside of each house.
Merrill is in Denton County Jail, bond set at $10 million.
Officials say at around 1 a.m., officers responded to a 911 call to the 3600 block of Stevens Road in Loganville after the family of 16-year-old Mia Campos didn't return home. The family told officers that Campos had left the house on Sunday night with the father of her unborn child and never returned home. Her family used a cell phone app to track her to the wooded area. There, they would find her body. While the initial evidence made it difficult to determine how Campos died, an autopsy on Tuesday led the medical examiner to rule her death a homicide. Officials say they arrested Campos's ex-boyfriend, Jesus Monroy, on a charge of giving false statements to a police officer during an interview with Sergeant Colin, Flynn said. As police worked to figure out just what happened, these parents say they saw a sign one morning that their baby girl was still with them. Mr. Campos said, "You could see a little bird standing right outside the window, and I told my wife, she's right there." Okay guys, let's watch these clips.
Only Channel Action News was there overnight as a man charged with killing a pregnant Gwinnett County teen and her unborn child walked out of jail. Now, Jesus Monroy, charged with murdering 16-year-old Mia Campos, was released on bond. And Channel 2 Steve Gelbach is at the Gwinnett County Jail, where the victim's family is outraged.
He walked out of here overnight after posting a total of only a $56,000 bond. Only Channel 2 Action News was outside the Gwinnett County Jail overnight, just after midnight, as family members greeted 20-year-old Jesus Monroy as he walked to a waiting truck. After posting that bond, Monroy is charged with malice murder, felony murder, and feticide. The death of his girlfriend, 16-year-old Mia Campos, who was pregnant with their son. The body was found dumped in the woods last month. At his bond hearing Wednesday, Monroy's attorney argued he's not a flight risk, not a danger to the community, and has an alibi for the time of the murder. They asked for a $75,000 bond, but Judge Karen Byers granted an even lower amount. Campos' father says that the victim's family is now outraged.
You can go out and kill somebody, and I tell someone to give you $50,000, and you can pay $5,000 to get out. His family can see him, they can talk to him, they can hug him, but I won't do that with my daughter, because my daughter, she's gone.
Conditions of his release on bond include Monroy wearing an ankle monitor, surrendering his passport, as well as having no contact with any witnesses. We'll be following this up to his murder trial.
To the arrival of her son Sebastian.
She was a happy girl. She was always happy, always dancing. She loved music. She loved dance. She was everything. Happy all the time.
After spending Sunday, July 14th, shopping with her family for her baby shower, Ring doorbell video shows Mia leaving home at 10:31 p.m. According to her family, she was picked up by her baby's father, 20-year-old Jesus Monroy.
She told me that she was going to go with him to Quick Trip, which was a normal thing. They would always go somewhere. They would go eat, or they would go to the appointments. But for some reason, before she left, I had kind of a bad feeling.
When Mia didn't return and wasn't answering her phone, her parents used an app to track her location.
And that's how we knew that she was here somewhere. So he came to the house and said, "Hey, my app says he's just right here around the corner." So and it's like, the last time that he moved, it was probably around 10:58. So, and after that, that's when we started looking for her. And that's when we called Jesus. She was with him. She said, "No, I was at the house. I haven't talked to her. I haven't seen her since Saturday morning." He came with his father and said, "Well, if Mia, she's not with you, so where is she?" I said, "Well, I don't know."
This is where that app led them, to this patch of woods, about 1.5 miles from Mia's home. Mia's parents, along with Jesus and his father, followed this path, and together they discovered Mia right here, lying face down.
When we found her, my heart dropped. It wasn't what I was expecting. And I carry a lot of guilt, because I was the last one who saw her. And if I knew, I would have, could have, and I should have stopped her from leaving. But since it was such a normal thing, I didn't.
What did you think of his behavior at the scene? Murder, felony murder, feticide, and aggravated assault. Now, it's unclear if Monroy has retained an attorney to speak on his behalf. Here with me, though, Court TV producer Barbara McDonald, who sat down and spoke with the Campos family. Barbara, that had to have been a tough conversation to have, just looking at the mom
and his son.
What would you say to Jesus if you could talk to him now?
Why? Why he did it? What was the reason? Why he was never man enough to just tell my dad that I didn't want to be a part of Mia's life? Why take my baby sister, my best friend, my other half away from us?
Jesus Monroy told police that he didn't even see Mia that night. The arrest warrant, though, accuses him of luring her to the end of her neighborhood, where he caused her death by asphyxiation. He's now facing charges of malice murder, felony murder, feticide, and aggravated assault.
Okay, guys. Thanks for watching and have a good one.